Peace be with you and welcome to Spiritual Court. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning back, what is good, my beautiful, amazing, cosmic, galactic, guardians of the galaxies, infinitely eternal being family? What is happening is already happening because it has already happened. I love y'all. Come on in. Let's have a conversation. Let's speak the same love language. You know, love is an idea. I am finding that love is an idea of what we allow ourselves to believe, be living, being, to be actively, currently, an action. Love is an energy. It is a feeling, right? Currently, in the now. So let's fill ourselves up with whatever we believe that is, okay? Spiritual respect for self first and foremost, then extending that effortlessly, intentionally, yeah, with good intentions, whatever you conceive good to be, to one another as we are giving that energy back to self, right? Needless to say, let's dive into this energy, y'all. How's your ascension? Are y'all feeling good? Are you drinking ginger shots? Okay, that's really good for your ascension. Are you maybe cleansing, detoxing with apple cider vinegar? Maybe a little bit of cayenne peppers, okay? Cayenne. The indigenous ancestors are like, it's cayenne. Please, let's be clear. Your pronunciations have to be ergonomically correct. Yes, there is a very special spiritual linguistics that travels throughout the ages. Hence the fact that the Christ consciousness, shout out to Yeshua HaMashiach, said, oh, they'll be speaking in a holy tongue. Holy, holistic, one, complete, not half, type of language. Something that has come through the ages. Congratulations. The Most High God above everything, all things, is absolutely present here with me. I am eternally grateful, presiding over all of our cases. Let's just see what's going on. Newcomers, welcome. Hey, hi. Remember, hell is low. How's your dense frequencies? You know, how's your lower vibrational frequencies? Okay. Are you managing those frequencies, you know, earthly, worldly? I was going to say early. Early. Okay, that's what's up. Worldly, earthly. One word. Okay. How are your early ascensions by way of your dense frequencies as it relates to the 3D? Are you balancing out those things? Human responsibilities, you know, bills, money, job, hair, clothes, nail, work. Okay, yeah, nails, hair, toenails, clothes, name brand. Listen, are you balancing out those dense frequencies? It's a very human illusion. Needless to say, we're all living the dream. Come on into the chat. Let's see what's going on. Holy Spirit, I just heard they're not masters. They're just people that thought they had secret knowledge, but it was limited. So these are limited people who were trying to comfort limitless people, eternal beings. Okay. Something about finite and infinite. Okay. Up and down. Somebody thought they had sacred knowledge. These are wanksters. These are spiritual wanksters. Okay. So these are people that thought they had a certain level of knowledge. You know, when you get to outside of yourself, you can get lost. That's why you should always go within so you don't tap out outside of yourself. So somebody was trying to mind some business that did not belong to them. Okay, that is a form of lacking responsibility by way of ascending to your highest good, tending to your own house, your own vessel, your own spirit, and going within. So here, the eternal being is tapping in, going within, punching the buttons, you know, tapping into the physical, spiritual codes. And somebody was a wankster with limited information on the external, only looking at the surface, Never really seen what was deep. These are people with limited ancient secret knowledge. Okay, so if it's limited, somebody was reaching where they had no business, reaching outside of themselves. If they're reaching outside of themselves a little too much, that means that they're hollow. Yeah. Hollow be thy name. Okay, but you're not whole. Holistic. You're not a whole person. Something's missing. So let's talk about it. Okay, clarify. They thought they were masters. Are you a master or a wankster? Chime in down below. This card was not even supposed to be in there. But look what came out. The moon. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, let's see what the vampires named this moon. What is the next full moon that's coming up 2025 in October? Oh, the full harvest moon. So maybe that's where I felt this inclination to say, hallowed be thy name, Hallows Eve, Halloween. Okay, so the celebration of the dead, the rising of the dead. Okay, so somebody thought they had a whole bunch of knowledge, okay, as a master. But if you're reaching too far on the external, then that means that whatever they gathered was stolen. Because somebody didn't tap in. They weren't able to tap within to get this knowledge, right? That's really where it is. It's within. Okay, although we express that on what appears to be the external, somebody didn't have an exit strategy. Somebody's out here looking crazy. The moon. Is there a moon coming up? A full moon for those people that live by the moon? Shout out to the people that live for the moon cycles. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like waiting on a holiday to come in order to access your power and your victories and go within and access your victories. Is that what I said? Okay. Victoriously accessing your power in the now. Some people wait for that 28 days, okay, by way of a moon cycle or however often it is, okay? So this was supposed to be a really big harvest moon. Ooh, that means all the people that have done the work, done their ascensions. You had a group of vampires, possibly, okay, that were trying to reach for knowledge that is divinely protected, right? There's a fire around this knowledge. You will get burned. You possibly could get electrocuted, reaching for people who are like electric beams, quite literally. Yeah, radiating a lot of light. Okay, so I don't know. This is coming from the ethers. Let me just see. I think there was one in September. Okay. So waiting for the moon. While the moon gets mixed signals from Saturn, scrambling up all the bullshit. People emotionally all over the place. Oh, it's a full moon. I'm on my period. Throwing off your hormones. Okay. Yeah, whatever. Listen, it's an illusion. Okay. Nothing is really affecting anything, quite literally. But you definitely are an invasive group of people, divine collective. So let's see, September 7th was supposed to be, was that a full moon? Okay, hold on. Okay, whenever it is, right? I think we're in a new moon, okay? So new moon cycle, I think there may have been 2 full moons. It seems like there were 2 full moons back to back. But now we're finding out we could possibly have over 150 moons in our solar system. I mean, gags on the human beings, man. The jokes on the human beings. It's like the galactic beings are like, what? You silly rabbits. There's over 150 moons in the solar system and counting. We just might create maybe 100 more if we feel like it. But I feel like we don't need the moon. I feel like the moon represented, something that was initially supposed to scramble. But now the collective is now using the moon to filter illusions. Isn't that nice? Like the moon was always meant to like cause some type of confusion, right? And now we're using it as a filter. Shout out to the people that survive these really lengthy intros. Time's an illusion. So make some time today. Make something. What are you co-creating? Let's just see what is going on, Holy Spirit. Clarify. The sun. These cards are not supposed to be in here. So we got the moon and the sun. That's like solar eclipse energy, y'all. So we got the sun. The sun is estimated to be about 91 million miles away. Estimated, okay? You know, as we travel, as we move, so do the planets. And that's why NASA stays in space so much, okay? Going to Mars, okay? Fly me to the moon. Let me play amongst the scars of Mars. SARS. Listen, I cannot make it up. Let me see what life is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, I'll see truth. Yes, we will see the truth. Okay, I'm back. Let's go. Oh, throwing salt on your name. You nasty little bastards. So somebody is using their tongue chakras, their mouth chakra, their throat chakra, their whole solar system, their whole world is involved in throwing salt on your name. That's nice, because salt on your name, literally by way of what this physical world represents, is protection, you know? Remember, salt for protection? Okay, I'm just saying. So somebody's throwing salt on your name. You see the way your enemy is your footstool? They don't even know that they're benefiting you, aiding you, and assisting you, allowing you to go to great heights and become better versions of this ascended being that you are, right? In the human experience. False divine feminine, false divine masculine. These are not masters. These are wanksters with limited knowledge. They absolutely reach for the external. Everything they do is on the external. They watch other people on the external, on the surface. They try to body jump on the surface. They try to hack into your minds on the surface. They never go within. But the mirroring energy, right, is almost like roll your eyes into the back of your head and look into your own mind. Like I got eyes in the back of my head type energy. Somebody's going to catch that, and somebody's going to be like, what the hell did she just say? I know. The Most High is presiding over all these cases, okay? So throwing salt on your name. Let's just see what's going on. These are supposed to be masters of some form of art, okay? Clarify, throwing salt on your name. So whenever somebody gossips or they throw salt on your name, the goal is to attempt to put something out of balance for you, right? They're speaking this onto you. They want it to weigh in with you. They want it to latch on. They want it to weigh you down. 10 of Wands, 10 of Swords. You know, throwing salt on your name is like very strategic conversation by way of defamation of character. To defame your character, to defecate on your character. Trying to shit on your name, throwing salt on your name, but somehow this has aided and assisted you in becoming what you now know for yourself to be a real ascended master energy, okay? So show me these wanksters. Show me these spiritual pranksters. Clarify, show me these wanksters, Holy Spirit. Show us the wanksters. Oh my goodness. You got the 7 of Cups. Illusions, confusion. They could be slightly confused right now. I feel like, you know how when a scientist goes in to measure certain elements by way of what they calculate, maybe by way of theory, philosophy, observation, materials, goods, whatever the experiment is, right? You calculate what you deem to be the outcome based on your observation. So now something is confusing for a bunch of people that really thought that they had hit master's level. If you feel in yourself, I've hit master's level, you're lost. You are ascending masters. Ascending. The ing puts you more in the eternal being. On and on and on and on and on and on. On and on and on and on. What? Forever, ever? Forever, ever? Yeah, forever, ever. Listen. So you got the 7 of Cups. You got the 7 of Cups. You got a group of wanksters, okay? Deeming to be masters, self-proclaimed masters, self-initiated, big ego energy. Look at me, I'm a master. You should give me honorary masters. But where really is the congratulations lying when somebody thought that they was a wankster enough that they lowered their vibration to speak on your name? This is a form of them being and or playing out an energy of feeling intimidated by you. When you think to take your energy, your time, your money, your mouth, your body, you know how they say, don't waste your breath. Somebody took their breath. It takes a lot to talk. It takes a lot to talk, share information, gossip. You got to engulf all your muscles. You got to engulf all your bones. Yeah, and I heard she said, he said. Then he said, she said, she said. Oh, I heard she said. Then you got to mix the truth with a little bit of lie because you need it to be convincing. Remember, you're trying to manifest something onto somebody who you don't like for whatever reason. Now, the reasons are really within you. But you're looking on the external, paying attention to somebody else more than you are yourself. And so internally, you're not going to solve this problem. Only to realize that you, the one throwing salt on somebody else's name, putting shit on their name, really does reveal that you are the problem. You ever seen somebody be their own worst enemy? You ever seen somebody fighting themselves? It's hard to watch. It happens, though, quite frequently, probably more than it should. Clarify these wanksters. The Chariot. Interesting. You got the Seven of Cups and the Chariot. Water energy. Illusions, basically. Cancerian energy. Something about the moon's energy. Cancerian, the Chariot. Clarify the moon and the sun. We set fire to the rain. That's what I just heard. Empress energy. Empress energy represents temperance. Tempering your energy. 1 foot in the water. 1 foot on land. Okay. Piscean energy. Walking on water. Aquarius energy. Air between the bones. The ankle bone is connected to the foot bone. Aquarius is connected to Pisces. Yeah, listen, your feet, F-E-E-T, 4 letters. Everything's powered up by the power of 2, right? 206 bones in the body. Everything's in increments of 2. 2, 4, 6, 8. 6 plus 2 equals 8. Okay. Shout out to the numerologist. Somebody calculated that real quick. The Empress energy, balanced, scales, in alignment, feminine, masculine energy, balance, water, Chariot, nurturing, 7 of Cups, scorpionic energy, okay? Illusions, death, transformation. Let's talk about it, okay? The number 69 is interesting because it really does represent the scorpion chasing itself in a circle, chasing its tail in a circle. See that 69 there? Can y'all see that 69? But if you turn it this way, it also looks like a little crab, doesn't it? With 2 little eyes and 2 little claws. Okay. You got the star. This came up in the reverse, okay? So you got the star in the reverse, false divine feminine, false divine masculine, okay? Clarify. Limited information. These people had limited information, yeah. They were coming up against people that were really going within. Committed to going within will absolutely get you the truth a lot faster than going without. Okay? Just my advice, just what I've seen by way of noticing how things play out. Yeah, it's usually better to go within. Taurus energy. Okay? Keeping your antennas to the sky. Look at the circle. Look at the 2 antennas. Shout out to the Taurian energy. Throat chakra. You know, this also represents your throat. Look at the circle, represents your throat, and the 2 little lines going out represent your thyroid. Okay, clarify, Holy Spirit. Your thyroid has to be hormonally balanced in order for you to feel well within. So these people thought they had knowledge. They were coming up against some ascended masters, real ascending masters. So when we say ascended masters, you are masters that have already ascended to the highest level of knowledge. So you return back through the physical body to come and teach and reach a whole bunch of people to change the energy in the 3D on what we like to consider planet Earth. Okay. So big Leo energy, something about a victory. Okay. Clarify, throwing salt on your name, Holy Spirit. Somebody was definitely running that mouth. Look at what they were doing. This is the highest of the high, at least in the 3D. Okay. There's higher levels. Okay. There's definitely higher levels. Somebody's birthday could be February the 5th. Somebody's birthday could be March 5th, March 25th. Somebody's birthday could be May 5th, May 2nd, something like that. But this is the highest that you can go in this realm. Okay? This is very high rank. This is like seeking higher knowledge, tapping into realms, picking up on frequencies that only you can decode and or translate. It's a whole nother language. Somebody tried to use the moon to tap into Saturn's energy to create some type of mental psychosis or scrambling of the consciousness. Casting shadows from the moon. Moon work. Same old raggedy work. It's not really that creative. It is very redundant, but at the same time, we're not redundant. We're creating something new up under the sun. So again, you know, these are mad scientists. They're angry. They've gone mad. They calculated that these illusions would somehow create some type of diversion or intrusion by way of the high priestess energy, but it did not. So somebody went to talking, running their mouth. It takes a lot to take a deep breath. Especially when you're filled with hate, you know, but when you're full, you know, when you're a whole person, it's really not that hard to breathe, you know. But when you're gossiping, you gotta, you know, your shoulders are tight, you're angry, you know, you're telling something that you want to destroy somebody with. That is the point of throwing salt on somebody's name. But salt is a form of protection. So clarify, salt is a form of protection. I can't make this up. You came for a whole psychic. The Queen of Cups energy. Saltwater energy. The oceans, the lakes. But you're 70 something plus percent water. So you were trying to throw some type of an illusion at a psychic energy. People that are really tapped in. Look at the earth. Look at the fish. Piscean energy, high priestess, Cancerian energy, the moon, scorpionic energy, 7 of cups, death. It's giving death cycles. It's giving playing around with death, trying to put an end to somebody. Show me this false divine feminine or masculine, the star in the reverse. This was a fool at best. What a really good example of a fool, you know. A wise person, a wiser person, a person getting wiser can learn from a fool. Hopefully it's not a bunch of fools. When it's a bunch of fools, that's like a whole bunch of people and they all fools. Like, that's too many fools in one spot. Yeah, we just gonna learn from all of them and keep it pushing. But I feel like we have learned something's over. Clarify this false feminine, divine masculine. Yeah, they tried to walk away. They got to let something go. Yeah, listen, I can't make this up. You got a lot of people who had limited knowledge deeming themselves to be high ranked. But it's really the spirit realm, y'all, that decides how high your rank goes. And in order to deem this reality, one has to go within because it's your spirit. It's the spirit realm that decides your ranking by way of dimension, by way of how you see things, by way of how you ascend. So whoever this person is, divine intervention is here. Somebody had not calculated this. As a mad scientist, this was a bad science project. The universe keeps calling them wanksters, okay? Wanky energy. That's what I just heard. What is the meaning of a wankster? A wankster is a slang term for self-obsessed, a show-off. Essentially, a portmanteau of wanker. Portmanteau, we need to look that word up as well. Let's come on in. Bring your boys and girls. Bring your inner child. Let's go back to school. Let's see the world through children, quite innocently. It says essentially, portmanteau of wanker and gangster of star. Gangster, gangstar, wankstar. The word combines the derogatory term wanker with element of gangster, of star, to create a new critical descriptor for someone who is arrogant and self-centered. Oh, wait a minute. The origin of the term is a blend of wanker, a British slang term for someone who is contemptible or foolish. Oh, look at the coincidences. There are no coincidences. There is no effect or any type of cause of anything at this point, okay, with these people. And either gangster or star connotation, it carries a negative connotation, implying that the person is pretentious, overly self-important, and acts like a big shot without having the accomplishments to back it up. So now somebody's walking away. You got a group of wanksters that weren't able to accomplish something, but they were big shit talkers, big talkers, throwing salt on your name. Oh, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to do this. And I. Everybody, listen, whoever this person is, these people are, the Three of Swords, they're being forced to look at their own heart. Why you do that for? What you do that for? Where they do that at? You was just talking, gossiping. You a fake feminine, fake divine masculine. You're out here. You have no connection to God because you're not going within. All of your work is external. It's limited. It's a limited view. It's a limited ability because there is no within for you. It doesn't exist. You were too busy throwing salt on somebody else's name when you should have been putting salt on your own name, because salt is a form of protection. Okay, let's get a little bit deeper. Yeah, let's talk about it. The truth. Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords is the tongue. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. Okay? Something ain't working out so good for somebody. Four of Swords in the reverse. Whoever these wanksters are, they're exhausted. They're burned out. It's limited power, limited beliefs, limited knowledge, wankster energy, all talk, no bite, all bark, no bite, using all of your senses, whatever you had, whatever you were capped off to be, you used all of that to project out to somebody, illusions and lies. The Seven of Cups and throwing salt on your names, it's like, it's a lie. There's no truth in it. Somebody was just simply projecting out what they were wanting to manifest. And they said, when I say this, I know this is going to happen for that person. But in reality, it then put them in the Four of Swords in the reverse, which is kind of like a comatose state. Somebody's like the Walking Dead now. They're in a deep, exhausted state of being, burned out, stagnant. They're not a limitless, eternal being. It's always going to be temporary. Back to the drawing board. That's what I just heard. Back to the drawing board. Mad science. Weird science. Trying to defy gravity. Weird science. Ooh. Trying to project all that negativity. Weird science. We know what to do with that negativity. Negatively charged and positively charged. Oh my God. Like a battery. That's what's up. Solar panels out here. Walking, breathing solar panels. Absorbing the sun. And what is this that somebody brought to the table? It's not edible. That's what I just heard. Whatever this energy is, you can't do nothing with it. We didn't do nothing with it. It's dense. Look. It's dead energy. It's not knowledgeable. It's not smart. It's not somebody making. So what I like. It's like when somebody sends you energy, right? You have to decide, fight or flight, what to do with that energy. This was something that we couldn't do anything with. Look, it's dead. Nine of Wands and the Ten of Swords. At the Four of Swords in the reverse, This is like zombie state energy. This is like, yeah, it's giving like zombie apocalypse type energy. These people are fools. Ten of Cups, bloodline, contentment, okay? Knight of Pentacles, okay? Something about taking the methodical approach. Somebody was making offerings, okay? On somebody's bloodline to do something to their bloodline, something like that. These are people that have successfully taken out people with limited knowledge, or not as much knowledge as what they thought they had. Clarify Ascended Masters, High Priestess. Yeah, it ain't no games here. You got Ascending Masters here that have spent the block. They have ascended to the heavens, descended by choice, reincarnated into a new human experience to teach people to put things in order and balance, to bring balance. Yeah, Libra season is bringing all of this stuff into balance. High Priestess and the Hierophant, that's high rank. They're real ascended masters in this life that are walking again through what appears to be imperfection, simply awakening to their knowledge. These people were always capped off. There's like a cap. You know, it's like, okay, enough. It's like they can only retain so much. They can't, you know, it's like when you drink water, you can only retain so much water. Yeah, these people were gluttons. It's like tying a water hose to somebody's mouth and taping it shut and just watching them blow up. These people were inflated, ego energy. Yeah, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. Nah, that's throwing salt. Look at all the muscles you're using. Look at all the breath you gotta breathe when you're walking in hate. Oh, now you're just exhausted because that shit didn't go nowhere. That's why we can't even do nothing with this dis-energy. I mean, we could, but we're not interested. You know what I mean? It's like once you get here, you got, I always say you got bigger fish to fry. Yeah, you got meetings to make it to. You got alien beings talking to you. DNA upgrades in a dream state. Like, there's more intriguing things going on. This is life. So this is life. I think I like this little life. This little bitty tiny little baby, little microscopic baby life. The Three of Cups. Soul Tribe family. Chime in. Let's clarify what's going on, Holy Spirit. These people are wanksters. They're wanksters. Yeah, Aquarius energy. They can't move forward. The Aquarius energy is here with the swords is because they're lacking flow. Somebody told them, that told somebody, that knew somebody that said, he said, she said, this is enough knowledge in order to take whoever you are putting a target on. Whoever this person is that you were targeting with your Ace of Swords in the reverse, throwing salt on their name. They're protected because salt is on their name. Okay, whoever this was, somebody lied to somebody else. But here's the thing. The devil is really not a liar. The devil always tells you exactly who he is or she is. The devil ain't a liar. Free will, though. You can choose to believe the lie by way of perception of what you want to tell yourself you see or what you don't see. I recommend that you activate those eyes in the back of your head. Maybe see yourself with your eyes wide shut. One of the two. That could have gone over somebody's head. That's okay. That's okay. That's what it's meant to do. Maybe you'll leave that, okay, and pick it up later. Maybe I will too. Let's do it together. 5 of Swords is like sneaky and deceptive. Having to put your swords down. Conflict, disagreements, 3D bullshit. Competition, dense energy, defeat. Trying to win at all costs. Sneakiness. Looking crazy. Did it in haste. Did it fast. Passionately doing it. With the Knight of Wands energy. Water and fire. Cancerian energy. Look at the Sagittarius and the Cancerian symbol right there in the corner. Can y'all see that? Or maybe the picture is pixelated. I don't know. Let's see. 8 of Wands, Sagittarius energy. Cosmic communication. Cosmic movement. Yeah. Fire and water and air. Somebody could have been doing earth magic, working with elements. Yeah. It's exhausting. 4 swords in the reverse, doing earth magic on earth angels. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Gaia's on our side. I love Gaia. Thank you, Gaia. You know, she's constantly transmuting. We should give a lot of respect to Gaia. Like, yeah, show some respect to Gaia. Pick up your trash, you know. Plastic is not biodegradable because it's created from some shit that somebody cooked up in a lab to save money. Whatever. Listen, pick up your trash. Don't throw your food in the water. Listen, the fish don't eat pizza. Okay? Don't throw your trash. They don't eat Dorito bags. Don't throw your trash at the beach. Something like that. Gaia loves us. You set fire to the rain. I set fire to the rain. Watched it burn into the flames. And I called it, screaming out your name. Your name. Oh, I said. We set fire to the rain one time. The 10 of Pentacles. The 10 of Pentacles is royal lineage, earthly possessions, Virgo energy, the intestines, your solar plex, your gut feeling, your intuitive nudges, your internal organs that are connected to your internal world, accessing certain things within in order for everything to come into fruition. Virgo energy has to be essential. Earth energy, thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, alien beings. Shout out to all the ascended masters in the spirit. Something about wealth, finances, and security. So the world got to come up off of something. The world got to cut that check. The world has to cut a check. Be this the government, whoever, they gotta give the people their severance. We don't want the 40 acres and a mule no more. We need the severance. Yeah. Because here's the thing, to give us the 40 acres, which is a piece of land and a mule, listen, we don't need that anymore. We canceled that request. That's what our ancestors were asking for, was the 40 acres and a mule. No. Why would we do that? Why would we put a cap on 40 acres on a planet that we're made up of the same structure as? We own the whole land. We are the land. We are the earth. So how can we go to you asking for reparations to decide separations? Okay. Master slave mentality when you're talking to a master. How? That's crazy. We're not going to do that, man. You know, they say we got to do better. Well, when you know better, you do better, right? Somebody didn't know enough to try to come up against this bloodline. This is another classic case of where somebody should have been taking notes instead of looking for a sword and a dagger to try to put into your heart chakra when they themselves were heartless. Talking, but really saying less. Okay. Something about earth energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn energy, thyroid, throat chakra, Virgo energy, intestines, going within, so you don't have to go without. I'm just naming the zodiac signs by way of the constellations and the physical body parts by way of the human body. The woman, the hump. Listen, sound like a song to me, don't it? Human, woman, human, woman, human, woman, human, woman, human, woman, woman, human, man, huma. Sounds holistic, holy, hollow. You got hollow be thy name, and somebody was over here trying to throw salt on your name. Thank you. Salt is protection. Thank you. Could have been a false masculine or false feminine. What does that mean? These are people that give the perception of being balanced, but within they're really in shambles. They really come up as page energy. People like this. Look, I can make it up. 5 of Pentacles and the Page of Cups. Cast it out. Can't go within, keep going without. 5 of Pentacles. Begging, crying, trying to figure something out with limited knowledge, thinking that they can come up against people who have ascended as masters, who spent the block to come back and guide again. That's a huge sacrifice. For source of all things says, hey, listen, I'm going to send all of my golden children, my chosen ones, as it says in the scriptures, my only begotten son. You better get this, okay? Begotten, meaning they already got it. They already have it. They already ascended. They've reincarnated millions of times. So when I send them, hearken to their voice. My voice will be their voice in the wilderness. All you got to do is listen. Don't be stiff-necked. You already had timelines of that. You're not tired yet? Some of these people wasn't tired yet. So they kept doing the same thing. They're still doing the same thing, but they're getting the same reaction, hoping for something to change. But how can you do that when you're not doing anything different? At some point, even a mad scientist has to say, well, maybe I need to recalculate what it is that I'm putting into these ingredients. But if it's dense energy coming up against light beings, it's going to get set on fire. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Yeah, it's just going to be fragmented energy that scatters, and anybody who sent it goes along with it, because that's taking accountability. That's great responsibility for the dense energy that you recycled and coughed up and choked out. And, okay. Ace of Wands. The wand represents fire. Fire from the sky. We set fire to the rain. I don't know what else to tell them. Fire to the rain. Water. Water is really, when I think of King of Cups, I think of scorpionic energy. I think of life, death, transformation, resurrection, reincarnation, in remembrance of. Then you start to remember what happened in other lives and who you actually are, and you awaken. It's a form of supernatural emotional intelligence, quite literally, in my experience. Emotionally being balanced and compassionate, yet diplomatic and fair and unbiased are really good balanced ways emotionally. It's called self-control. Controlling your world, controlling yourself absolutely will dictate your environment, quite literally. Yeah, on purpose, intentionally, supportive, tolerant, yet empathetic. Okay? This is how you create harmony in the physical, spiritual body. So a group of seemingly self-initiated wanksters, not good people, very pretentious, very egotistical. What do we mean by that? They don't think humanity. They don't think humanity, livelihood. They don't think about that. They think about control, dominance, stopping other people, but not stopping themselves or dominating themselves puts them out of control. It's an interesting, peculiar bunch. People that want to dominate you, but they can't control themselves. People that want to control you, but they can't dominate their own energy enough that it has them lethargic. Because they have no energy. They're hollow instead of holistic. They're hollow. There's nothing there. It's hollow. They're dead. 5 of Cups. Scorpio energy. Even their knowledge is dying. Because the knowledge has to reflect the time. 8 of Wands. Universal communication. Back to the basics. But somehow creating different and alternate ways of getting to this awakening. Remembering who you are, who you were. Somebody came towards somebody that knows who they are. They are starting to remember who they were. And so the knowledge that they gained over lifetimes is coming with them. You came up against emotional nurturing intelligence. Humanitarian energy. The highest rank in this world. With limited knowledge, hollowness, okay? No lack of understanding. Give me the definition of hollow. Having a hole or an empty space inside, according to Google, according to the dictionary. Without significance. The results were hollow, but there was no win. It was a hollow victory. So somebody put in a lot of work only to get dense energy, only to end up doing worse. This is a lesson. Okay? The moon cycle, eclipse energy, clarify, Holy Spirit. Clarify, Holy Spirit, false divine feminine, false divine masculine. Yeah, they're coming up as children. Children quite literally, like immature though. Lacking maturity. You know, maturity comes with experiences that you did not shortcut, that you did not circumvent, but instead you got what you needed to get when you were at that level. And if you didn't get something in your adolescence age or when you were a child, you did your shadow work, you went back, you fixed it, you became your mother and father. Thank you, mother and father within. And you mastered your child. So really, these are people that have to go back to the beginning, but they felt like they had made it. Careful when you say, I made it. Made is so finite. You're making it, you're ascending. It goes on forever and ever. Like the spirit goes on forever and ever. It is eternal. Eternally, though. Even saying eternal sounds finite. Eternally, ascending, rising, constantly. It's in the ing, being, constantly. That's active. That's more like an adjective. Clarify. False divine feminine, false divine masculine. What happened here? Yeah, I can't make it up. They got exposed. We know that. Okay, the moon is in the reverse. What else is new? Anything else we need to know? They got exposed. Knight of Cups in the reverse for being false and phony. Okay, so somebody thought that they were going to come in, project some type of an illusion. This is like a group of people, same old thing. They drummed up something. These are wanksters. These are not masters. They're not seeking to master. They're seeking to be a master of somebody else's reality. Dangerous. Dangerous. That's danger. Because you get caught in between a rock and a hard place. You get caught in the illusion that you cast it out because the person who's the master sees the truth. So the projection by way of mirroring water is only going to mirror back. But when you set fire to the rain, that's a form of like hot boiling water. Don't jump in no hot boiling water. I feel like they ain't got no choice. Their skin is falling off. We got to get to the meat and the bones of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's your memory? You're hollow. It's an empty victory. It's a hollow. It's hollow. It's empty. It has no girth. It's not even really taking up space in this reality or any other realities by way of being a wankster. It wants to appear to be an intrusion, but that's an illusion. That's a projection. Suffering from our rejections, rebuking. Yeah, nothing is really affecting anything else. Nine of Pentacles, more earth energy. Down to earth. Setting fire to the rain. Queen of Wands energy. I cannot make it up. You set fire to the rain. That's boiling hot water. But if these people are in the Five of Cups with the Four of Swords in the reverse, Four of Swords in the reverse also represents no spirit. What are swords? Air. Tell me how you're supposed to breathe with no air. No air, no air. How you gonna breathe? No spirit. People like this usually hold their breath. They don't properly breathe. They don't breathe like a god because they're not breathing in and out spirit. They're not living. They're not alive. Four of Swords in the reverse. But you took your sword, your Ace of Swords in the reverse, and you decided to gossip. You gave up all your air, the little bit you had harvested off of other people. You gave up all your air, your power, your wind, because it was never yours to have. So what happens to the mad scientists when they have to realize that, wait a minute, I got to figure out how to generate my own energy. Meanwhile, collective, you're walking on water, you're floating on water, you're sailing on water. In order to do that, you got to have really good flow. Join me over at High Priestess, Divine High Priestess Activated, where I will be going a little bit deeper into the physical body by way of balance, what it looks like to go within. It will be in the Ascended Masters membership over at Divine High Priestess Activated. Whoa, my cat just tried to knock over my phone. That's crazy. Okay, y'all. So that does conclude the reading. So we will be over there. We'll have a conversation. Join me over there. Again, it's only for the Ascended Masters, Ascending Masters, the people that really want to have real conversations, you know, where we talk about how we are now connecting and or feeling in these new bodies that we have, right? Let's talk about it. So I'll see y'all over there. If this resonated, hit the thumbs up. If it didn't, hit the thumbs down. Either way, take a deep breath and do that shit with your chest. Breathe that shit out, man, however you're feeling. I love y'all. See you soon. Peace be with you.